With nearly 5,000 specialists dedicated to supporting dealer financial services, Ally has the expertise to help you with your retail finance, F&I, and remarketing needs. We're all better off with an Ally. Contact your local Ally account executive to get started today. Ally, do it right.
Hey, it's Daily Drive executive producer Jake Neer in Detroit. On this week's bonus episode of the show, we'll hear from Susann Kazunas, Group Vice President of Production Engineering at Toyota Motor North America, about how the automaker is responding to tariff headwinds. But first, on Wednesday's show, we brought you the first part of our own CJ Moore's conversation with SellMyRide President Dom Pope and the company's new chairman, Chip Perry. If you haven't heard that part of the interview, go back and check it out. Here's more from that conversation.
Just thinking about the way that the used vehicle market has been, there's such a change since before COVID, during COVID and now after. Used vehicles, I think dealers are certainly concerned about margins compressing, or margins, they have been compressing in the time since kind of the peak of used vehicle prices a few years ago. Did that have any influence in bringing this to market now? I mean, certainly I think high volume dealers are interested in acquiring used vehicle inventory at lower prices, and they'll look anywhere they can at this point to find that. Are you seeing some of that demand from dealers, we'll say, at this point?
Yeah, I think the demand for what we have is probably at an all-time high. As Chip mentioned, this is an always-on problem and always has been. But I think that the problem's getting worse because there were huge market players that weren't really hitting the levels that they currently are now. Cabana and CarMax have really stole a march, even more so in the last few years, in this space. And I think dealers are sort of really left with less and less option. And I think there's a white space for us to come into to actually help the dealers defend themselves, defend their local markets against these sort of big players. So I think the dealer need has never been greater. And also, like you said, the different parts of the dealership when it comes to margins are getting tighter and tighter. And really dealers are acutely aware that this part of the dealership is where they are able to drive significant revenue. They have more control over what they do buy and what they sell it for. So ultimately, it's become a greater priority than it ever has been for dealers. Therefore, the timing market-wise is good. I think maybe years gone by, dealers weren't really willing to put much resource into lead handlers or BDC in order to actually help them acquire cars. Not like they are now. The pay plans are improving, the structure, the amount of resource, the quality of the resource in dealerships when it comes to used car acquisition is getting better and better, as well as their understanding of how this part of the dealership can really drive the profits.
Yes, and many dealers face the problem of if they want to acquire more used cars, how can they do it?
Mm-hmm.
They can go to the auctions, put their hand up, be the last person standing. They know what that produces. The third parties are fairly capped in their ability to drive traffic because they share leads across multiple dealerships. And trade-ins are a fairly constant flow, but hard to grow. So this represents a fresh new digital channel that brings new opportunities that the dealer wouldn't see. And it's done in the same way that those two big giant acquisitive companies, CarMax and Carvana, use, which is digital marketing over the top in local markets. So when I saw that dealers were able to protect their share, capture their fair share of local acquisition opportunities, I said, yes, I want to be part of that.
It certainly seems like there's just overall more competition for used vehicles. And like the 3-year-old used vehicles, the later model used inventory. Is that what you're aiming to have on the platform, available on the platform? Is any specific model year range? Because you mentioned high quality.
Yeah, we just really want to look at the buy plan that the dealer's looking for. So that, dealers really know their local markets, they know what cars consumers are looking for, and they're very, very, very attuned to that. So we just really want to provide them with the opportunities to acquire the used cars that they know are going to sell in their market. They know what turns quick. They know where they can find good growth. And ultimately, if a dealer's got a great wholesale solutions set up as well, we can really help them with that, and that can be a good profit driver for them. But ultimately, we want to get them retail ready cars, or retail available cars, and ultimately, if they do have options to, they would have options to wholesale. But we look at the buy plan, mile, age, types of cars, and we try to find them the opportunities that really fit into that. It's not really where we want to be sending any old lead to their BDC or sales team. It's really, we don't want the sales team looking for gold. Every single lead is a gold. So that's our objective here, is to establish what leads and what cars the dealers are looking for, and then really send them through to the sales team.
And we use Google and Meta to target these people very specifically. Both of those platforms understand user intent. They watch what we're doing. So they know if you have a 6-year-old Ford Explorer and you're thinking about selling it, you've kind of done some things on the internet that signal your intent. So that's how the digital marketing finds the people with the cars that the dealers want.
Automotive News retail reporter CJ Moore spoke with Chip Perry and Dom Pope of SellMyRide. Coming up, Toyota Motor North America's Susann Kazunas talks about the automaker's strategy to mitigate tariff costs. That's next on this bonus episode of Daily Drive. On Monday, General Motors CEO Mary Barra joins Daily Drive for an exclusive interview with Automotive News journalists Lindsay Van Hully and Nick Bunkley. In this two-part interview, Barra talks about how EV headwinds are affecting GM's electrification strategy and her conversations with President Trump and his administration about tariffs.
I also think tariffs are here to stay. We're working on how are we aligned with what the administration is trying to accomplish, and then make sure that they have the information to help encourage that. And I think that's the productive way to move forward. And that's what we've been doing since day one.
Don't miss this opportunity to hear directly from GM CEO Mary Barra, Monday and Tuesday, September 15th and 16th, right here on Daily Drive.
For over 100 years, Ally has helped dealers like you serve your customers by providing the best-in-class products and services you need, and by remaining true to the automotive passion we share. Your dedicated Ally account executive will work hand in hand with you to help you gain efficiencies, increase your product offerings, and work to improve per-vehicle revenue. Because we care about your business as much as you do. We're all better off with an Ally. Contact your local Ally account executive to get started today. Ally, do it right.
Welcome back. Automotive News Congress 2025 was jam-packed with industry leaders and thinkers in downtown Detroit on Thursday. In one session sponsored by Boston Consulting Group, Managing Director Brian Cawley spoke with Bridgestone America's CEO Scott Damon and Toyota Motor North America Group Vice President of Production Engineering Susann Kazunas about how companies are navigating several new challenges in 2025. In this clip, Kazunas talks specifically about Toyota's efforts to mitigate tariffs.
Obviously, all of us in this room have been dealing with a incredibly turbulent, rapidly changing tariff environment where the rules of the game are changing, not by the year, not by the quarter, but in some cases it feels like by the day or latest Twitter feed. Toyota has been, like many OEMs, especially exposed to that. And we'd just love to hear what are some of the steps that Toyota's taken to really manage through that uncertainty, both from a tariff standpoint and from a broader geopolitical standpoint.
Yeah, I think that's the question on everybody's mind right now. Toyota's had a philosophy for as long as I've been with the company that we will build where we sell and buy where we build. And that has really streamlined much of our decision-making over the last couple of decades, even including our most recent Corolla Cross, which we're building at a new facility in Huntsville, Alabama. The decision in 2024, before tariffs, we announced a decision to build rear axles for our truck business in our facility at San Antonio, Texas, and invest there. And what has turned out to be a very fortuitous decision in regard to the new battery facility that we're building in North Carolina. That was initially part of our strategy for electrification. But the first product that we're starting to produce there is hybrid batteries. And as we're seeing the shift in the market towards hybrid, that's going to give us some real advantage as we talk about being able to vertically integrate and to have more of those high-cost commodities being produced in the United States. I think one of the things we've always done is at new model, we evaluate what parts can be localized. And an example of that would be with our new Tundra and Sequoia, we were able to work with our partners to actually localize transmission production in Texas nearby the manufacturing facility. Also, resin deck bed was localized, just a couple of examples. So how do we take the work that we've done in that space, typically at a model change, but now we're having to do those studies and look at how we can make those decisions mid-cycle instead of waiting for the new model. And we're having to make decisions much faster. I think we are very proud of the relationship we have with our suppliers. And, in fact, I was here yesterday. We had an opportunity exchange in Detroit with our suppliers. It's 36th year that we've had that event, which is really about how we're building relationships and trust. And so being able to move quickly in the space, not just from the standpoint of the OEM decisions, but with the supplier base is key.
That's all for this bonus episode of Daily Drive. We'll be back on Monday with a brand new full episode of the show featuring the first part of our exclusive interview with General Motors CEO Mary Barra. We'll meet you back here on Monday.